Right button.
Oh,
There we go. Nice.
yeah.
So
We
good.
really need
So well
our
today.
own. We need some new music like that, but doesn't reference the events.
I know every single time, man. Every single time. It doesn't happen.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better at Lyria. Maybe I can.
So I was gonna
come up
say,
with something.
if I have the video, I could pull it into Camtasia and just separate the audio from the video. And
That's
just
easy
grab
enough
the
to do.
audio.
Yeah, I've got tons of. I've got DaVinci Studio and a bunch of other things.
Yep.
You know, to do that kind of processing. So
You bet.
yep.
Simon,
All possible.
Simon, where are you? It's different.
Yeah.
Yes. What's up with that?
I'm in a new locale. Yeah, it's echoing at the moment. It's not kitted out yet. So I've got blinds yet. I need to get my blinds and be arriving. No doubt they'll arrive during the middle of the stream. But now, I have to go collect them or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, new office. So sometimes.
Nice.
My audio is flaking, so I might have to rejoin. Hold on. Keep going for a bit.
Mine was flaky.
No, yeah, yours is fine. It was. I think it's Simon because I was getting. The same thing
Simon's.
Is it mine? The problem is I'm stuck on Wi-Fi at the moment until I get.
Oh, that's it.
Definitely. Oh, that's going to be tough.
Oh crap!
Stop doing all those torrent uploads. That takes up a lot of space.
That'll be it, right? Yeah.
That's what we used to tell people
He's
20
streaming
years
a bunch
ago.
of movies in the other room that he's not watching.
Yeah.
Yes,
Everybody's letting us know it's you, Simon.
Yeah, that's right. Simon's audio's messed up, says the chat. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's you. It's all you. It's okay. So we should introduce ourselves.
We'll make it
probably
work.
or something.
Yeah.
Simon.
Kick things off.
Oh, he's trying to figure out if there's something he can stop. Fix it.
I mean, is that how we at the moment?
Oh, it's ugly.
Yeah. No, it's
Every other word's dropping out. It's very sad. Are you on dial up again, Simon? Squee.
You had to take the handset and put it on the cups.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Make the Bell 103 headset fit a little bit better.
I never had to do that.
Oh, I did. I had a Penny Whistle 103 modem,
Oh, wow.
which required a desk phone that I would dial manually and then insert it into the Penny Whistle 103 modem. That was my 110 baud or 300 baud or whatever. It was really slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was 110 baud, which is sort of like the super minimum. Yeah, acoustic couple, that's bad. You kids don't know how good you have it. You kids, we had to walk uphill both ways to set up a dial
In the
connection.
snow. Yeah.
In the snow, both ways, in our face.
Carrying our 80-pound computer on our back.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this any different?
Yeah,
They call them portable computers, but they required a forklift.
It's hollow. It's hollow sounding, but it's much better.
Sorry, who? What?
Yeah,
Does that sound
it's
better?
better. Yeah.
Oh, it is better. Oh.
Yeah, you're not crackling in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hollow
Can't
sounding,
sing.
but we can hear you.
Can't
Yeah,
sing
you gotta-
Crackling
that's
Rose
important.
anymore. No. Definitely. Okay. Well,
We'll try that.
so this is
that any better?
one of the most exciting
Yeah.
startups for
Yeah.
our show we've ever had.
All right, that's that.
Right
We'll leave it
here.
at that. Tell me if there's another problem.
I'm
Otherwise,
so excited at this
No,
point.
that's
Wait,
no, that's
we're
like
just in a
10
frenzy
times better.
here at this
Yeah.
point. Yes, it does. Sounds good. Ship it.
much better.
so let's do some introductions and we'll crack on, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, my name is Simon Lightfoot, community leader and CTO at Dev Angels London. You can follow me on Twitter and other places at Dev Angels London. Randall.
I am Randall Schwartz. I am a Flutter Google developer expert, have been since the beginning of the program about 6 years ago. In fact, I was just going over I have a board that has pins for every year, and I recognized I was missing the 2026 one, so I was sent away for that. And what that means, I spend a lot of my time answering questions online on places like Stack Overflow. Yes, amazingly, still Stack Overflow answers. Discord, Reddit, place else I see questions, I try to answer it. Spend a lot of time in about 10 different Discords. And I also am the question magician for this show, which means what I'm doing is watching our live chat, looking for any particular statements that start with colon. Q colon, in fact, flags it as something that you all are trying to ask us all. We all? Whatever. Anyway, us guys. Right? And that's not even inclusive. Sorry, but ask us. There we go. That's even more inclusive. And if you don't put Q colon in front of it, we'll think it's just y'all chatting amongst it yourselves. But please put Q colon, and then we'll get to you. Don't ask the same question again later, because I will get you out of the queue and put you later in the queue, because we don't like spam. So don't do that. That's it for me. Go on, Danielle.
Danielle.
Hey, yeah. I'm Danielle Cox. I lead a very small team of Flutter developers at a startup called Arbly. A lot of fun. And also, I am one of the organizers of the Flutteristas. And actually, I see two more of our administas in the chat. So shout out to Steph and Kaylee. And yeah, that's pretty much me. John, go.
Sure.
Oh, wait, before John starts.
Oh.
That's your cue, Simon.
He's got to cue the music.
Oh.
Congratulations, John Weiss. You're now the Master Chief at Hill Valley Studios. Master Chief. Congratulations.
It's just going to repeat, so you can stop.
Well, it's not repeat. It's the same thing twice.
Yeah.
It has ending notes.
Anyway. Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. Anyway. John, explain that.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm John Weezy. I am the manager for the Flutter community medium, and like Randall, hang out in many places answering questions as much as I can. And as of last week, now have my company set up, Hill Valley Studios, and I'm getting ready to move a couple of my apps underneath that umbrella in the app stores, and one of which I think we talked about a few weeks ago at length is going to be my primary app. And then if I feel I need, I might do some stuff on the side through the company. So,
cool.
Yeah. So that's me.
Congrats.
Thanks.
And as always, you can't post links in chat. If you do, you won't get the entire message. If you do want to send us something, you can go to this very place, just.no, which will take you to the GitHub to me just page, pop in the description, name the file, enter the box to get syntax time, paste in your code, or put a snippet in there, whatever you want. And give us some information, maybe a GitHub URL, and we'll do a code review, I don't know, whatever else you want. And and then instead of sharing the entire URL, you share the hash from the URL as labeled in 0.6.
Yeah, we're back to choppy.
Yeah, the one time he doesn't say, John, why don't you explain this slide?
For me, I mean, you're the one.
Yeah. No, I think we got it. I think everybody got it, though, right? If you're going to post something.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is sad.
No.
This is sad. It's like
We'll finish it off. Yeah, so don't post links. We won't see them. It looks like it goes through on your end, but nobody sees it except you. If you want to share code with us, this is the way to do it. None of us work for Google. What else do we need to get through?
Yep.
Otherwise,
Anyway.
I think we're ready to.
Except for Simon.
We got, yeah.
Cyborging over
Is that
there.
Yeah, that sounded better that time.
That's better.
Short, but
It's kind of what happens. If it goes bad, let me know.
it's kind of in and
a
out.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to try. I will be right back. You can carry on there.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll just be us. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the slightly modified time, because we have people in the US and people in the rest of the world, and we decided this time shift anomaly to track the US time for time change rather than the world time for time change.
Well, we are
that
the
means for the
majority.
next-
We are the
Sorry, what?
majority of the people. We are the majority of the people on screen.
Right. It's mostly
We covered
US.
three of
Right,
the
true.
US
We're
time
the
zones
only
right here.
people. It's only US.
Well, now
people
that's
on
true,
screen.
but even
Right.
even with Simon,
And now I lost everybody's audio, so I've got to come
Uh-oh.
back. God. Audio problems
All right.
today. I can't hear
Well,
any
we
of
do
you.
cover
I'll be right
we
back.
cover 3 of the 4 U.S. time zones between us. So
yeah.
yeah, I know in the past I think we've typically stayed on kind of the Google time from HQ. So
Ever since upgrading to
now he's back.
Mac OS 26,
Yeah, problems.
my audio has been crapping out randomly, and it's only the listening channel, not the
Yeah.
speaker, which is really weird.
Yep.
It might be something to do with the noise reduction software that I have
Oh,
online. It's not
Hey,
up to code yet. or
testing.
something.
yeah, that's better.
I hear you.
Let's hope it
We
stays
hear
this way.
and obey. We hear and obey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely better.
Yeah. Wait, you went and stopped people from leeching your Wi-Fi? Is that how it worked?
No, it's not. I don't think it's anything to do with the Wi-Fi. To be honest, I think it's before I'm plugged in with a laptop with all this at the moment. So probably,
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I've made sure it's on performance mode. All the rest of it. See what happens.
Yeah, so far so good.
We've already got 3 questions if we want to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
go
look,
for it.
it's
dive in.
earlier than ever, right? Okay. First question right here from Solomon. I'm building an e-commerce platform for the client. Needs me to design logo and a web app. Samples. Any suggestions to speed this stage? Yeah, hire a
AI.
designer.
AI or hire somebody. Yeah.
Right. Stitch. Go look at
Yeah,
Stitch.
Stitch.
Yeah,
I've not loved Stitch so far, but I'm willing to think it's me since everybody else seems to love it.
I think
It's
the
because
point here is
it's
that
better than most of us. It's probably not as good as you. That's the problem. Yeah, but we like it because it's better than us.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree it's better than me too, but still,
Well, there you go.
it's about getting you started, right? It's about getting you over the hump.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think like he's asking for in this case, just something to get, speedy result to get started is probably worth looking into.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about AI for this is you can get half a dozen different ideas going, and
Yep.
even if you don't use one of the ones from AI, it can still help make that connection to what you do want to have.
Yeah, it's a simple way to kind of quickly prototype ideas and
yeah. Now,
see what you like.
I don't know with logos how much it's stealing from everybody else, but that's always
what
the
I
issue.
found so far. What I found with most of the AI with logos is they're fairly generic. They all kind of come up with the same design, same imagery and stuff for the most part for logos. So.
Would you say that most logos are very similar?
Yeah, I was getting good results in Nano Banana by giving a logo that somebody was asking about getting variations on and asking Nano Banana for variations. And it was doing some amazing range of things that I wouldn't even thought to ask for. So try tricks like that where you just say, make stuff up, vary this somehow. And tell it to go hog wild, and that'll be good. Oh, we didn't do code of conduct yet, so I might want to do that still.
Fine.
No.
Don't be stupid.
Same rules every week. You guys know it by now.
Don't be
Just
mean.
be nice to
Don't be
each other.
stupid.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have band hammers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's
Ask
probably
questions.
Okay. Yes. All right. Anything else on this? No. Move on.
Yep.
Okay. Flutter Universe asks, is there a way to lower the FPS of a Flutter app? Really? Why would you want to do that?
Maybe it's a low performance device and you want to get less frames.
But it does that automatically. It just doesn't finish the repaint cycle.
Yeah, but it's still going to try and chew up as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
If you want to relieve maybe the pressure, maybe CPU bound rendering, I don't know, but you can try and lower the pressure. I'd like to understand what the request is for here.
Yeah.
You certainly can do it, believe it or not. So the way it works is you
less frames.
you schedule a frame, right? If you go look at we can have a look at this in a bit, but there's called a persistent frame scheduler, and that's how Flutter normally works. There's no reason why you couldn't override that and do schedule frames on a timer or something. So don't see any reason why not.
Yep.
I haven't tried it though. Yeah, so you're looking at scheduler binding is the class that you need to look at.
Yep. Okay. Well, enough on that. On to the next one. And we got a few more right after that too, so it's good. So already got a stream going on. This is great.
Yeah.
Shri is asking Flutter 0 by Matej Knopf is coming. We can now choose rendering engine. What's the advantage? I don't know anything about Flutter 0. Do you?
Well,
Sumit?
and
It
it says
we looked at
it says, did we? Because it says it's coming, but when I went looking, I did not find anything by that name in pub. So I wasn't sure if this was a package that's not out yet.
hang on.
Yeah, I do recall something about Flutter 0 from last week.
0 calorie Flutter. Yeah, knob. Here we go. I've got it. Do you want to bring it up on screen?
Yeah. Since you're good at that.
Hopefully this doesn't. Tell me if this affects the mic or whatever.
It probably will, just to annoy
We'll
us.
find out.
Yes.
So
Oh,
yeah, it's a GitHub repo here. 0 kind of fine. No UI, ski and impeller included. Yeah, no, I saw this. I read through this. It's pretty cool. Basically, stripped down version of Flutter with most of Dart UI removed. There's no built-in UI support, skier or impeller. It's built to be compatible with existing Flutter tooling, so the Flutter tool directory can be used to build it.
Wow.
Yeah, in other words, there is a minimal Dart runtime that can be used for build applications on platforms supported by Flutter, but without making any assumptions about the UI layer. This is done to explore new use cases for Dart, such as writing applications with native UI toolkits through Dart Interrupt, but building Dart UI as a separate package, not built into the Flutter engine. Yeah, I mean, this is never going to be released as is, right? This is like a. I think I spoke to Matthew about this actually, but this is just like a use case where, you're trying to test things out. I think we might see that this is brought in for something further, but it's interesting. It's a technical interest for a very particular thing, right? But it's not actually. No. Yeah, I mean, you can. I'll put this link in the chat if anyone wants to read up about it and look at. But if anyone doesn't understand what this is all about, is the fact that Flutter engine ships with a whole rendering engine built into it, right? So the idea here is can you use Flutter and the Dart layer and the UI and the reactive UI, but with a different rendering output, right? And the answer is sure. I mean, and that's what he's done. Basically, right. Just separate that off. So it's a rebuild of Flutter engine without the Dart UI stuff, and then hooks so that you can put your own rendering engine. Therefore, you could, if you wanted to, have it so when it says try and render button or draw a rectangle, whatever it is, it will use the native UI system to do that, right?
Yeah. Michael's asking, I think this is probably a good question is, could you use it to build headless apps, right? Because if you have no UI.
I mean, you can already, yes.
Yes, but.
You can already do that by just building a Dart app.
Build Dart. Yeah, just build a Dart app.
I suppose if you depend on something from the Flutter, so the problem comes, there's always been the case, because Dart UI is that interconnecting library between Flutter and Dart runtime, and that's the thing that's required for Flutter to run out the custom build of Dart that supports Flutter. Then you're going to be in that situation where if you want to use any of the Flutter's SDK features, i.e., let's say value notifier or whatever it is that's built into Flutter, then you're going to be at a loss unless you're using something like this, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's more about how the separation between what is Flutter and what isn't Flutter is made. And there's a lot of work that the team are doing at the moment. The Flutter team are doing. First of all, we don't work for Google. We're all community members. But the Flutter team themselves are doing a lot of work around separating off things like Material and Cupertino from the main Flutter runtime, Flutter framework. And this kind of revolves around this. This is why this is picked up as a bit of an interesting point. But yeah, it looks cool.
What are the risks for breaking changes on that lowest level of Flutter stuff and how it's interacting with something like this?
To be honest, it's quite a stable API, right? They don't try and change it very often because it has far-reaching implications. When you get down that lower level, everything's stacked on top, right? But yeah, the problem here is because it's so low level, if there is a change, then it's normally not that simple to like implement or to adjust to, right? Conversely, you can have it that because it's such a simple interface, it can be easy. But it's low. I think the term is low level. We use that because easy and hard don't really have that kind of same connotation.
Cool. All right, done with that. Let's move on. Freedom is with multiple apps and private shared packages for those in a monorepo. How would you manage translations? I'm not sure to use whether one centralized localization or a separate one for every package. I haven't done a lot of translations, so I'll defer to the rest of the group. Or monorepos with translation. Does that actually make sense? Are you going to have shared strings across different packages?
I mean, you can.
You could. Sure.
In fact, I've done it, so I know it's possible.
Okay. Well, okay. So it happens, in other words. Okay.
The thing is, I think it's more about the case of how you're building your localizations. Because if you just go into the main use case of the built-in support of using ARB files and the generator and everything else is pretty much the singular use case for your app, right? If you try and use that stuff outside of an app, you start running into more complex problems. So yeah, if you're trying to do it in shared libraries and things like that, suddenly it becomes not fit for purpose, I think, a lot of the time. So you might want to, all the localization stuff is a Dart interface, right? Like you can implement that however you want. So it might be worth coming up with your own mechanism to do it. But out of what you're suggesting with localizations, I think you're probably worth. If I was to do what I was doing over again, so what we decided to do at the time, we had a monorepo, multiple package, all sharing one localizations from like a base package, right? So it had like a core package that had localizations, but that meant then any package can then use it. However, it becomes a problem because now you're touching that separate package each time you're touching any part of anything else inside of the app. Your localizations don't have to be a big global interface, right? I would probably build a level on top of the standard localizations that work for your monorepo, and then build interfaces on top of that for the unique parts. And then you can just look up the localizations you need for whatever you're working on. Meaning that when you do a PR or whatever else, the localizations, the strings and whatever else you need to work with are alongside the code that you're working on, rather than split across many places, rather than in one central location. But it doesn't really make that much difference, to be fair. It all gets compiled into an app.
Yeah. It's just ones and zeros ultimately. That's why everything is.
Yep.
All right. Done with that one. Next one I think I'm going to take because I got some input on it. Mohammedan is asking, an existing Flutter project, if a package like Darts hasn't been updated for 4 years, is it okay to keep using it? What criteria should we use to decide whether a Flutter package is good to use? I wouldn't do any green starts with darts to begin with. It was sort of a failed, half-completed experiment. FP Dart went much further, lots of tests, lots of documentation, except he's now abandoned FP Dart. He's now fascinated by something about this thing called effects over in the JavaScript world. So he's not working on FP Dart anymore. There's a new project coming along called Ribs, which seems to be getting closer to production ready, but there's still a lot of documentation left to do. But if you want functional programming, that's sort of the never should have used darts. FP Dart is fine. But the thing is, if your project is working okay and you understand enough of the undocumented and unimplemented parts of darts, there's no reason to switch it out for, say, FP Dart or even Ribs, because that's just a lot of possibilities of introducing new junk. But you do want to be careful not to get tied to a package that is clearly abandoned. Darts is clearly abandoned. I tell you, FP Dart is abandoned in effect because he's not working on it anymore.
Yeah, you should at least start looking at replacement options and what it'll take.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say also reach out to the author of the package. If you like it so much and you want to take ownership and update it, he might, they might bring on, ask you to help do that, right? Like,
if you're going to do that to FP Dart, please. Just Darts was just heading in the wrong direction, unfortunately.
But I mean, that's up to them, right?
It's up to me.
I will try to get is if you want
to. This is my show. He wants his own show. Get his own show and come in and complain. I'm on this show, and I'm telling you, it sucked.
And if you need help,
I'm just saying that
you can always hire Randall.
The point here is that it's more. The point I'm trying to make here is that there's lots of projects out there that are like single person projects. They're doing it in their spare time. Yeah, they can always do with a hand and always want people to help them fix PRs and do things. Communicate with them first because they will appreciate that, and then they say fix that. If you can fix it for me, that'd be great. But fix it for you, and then before you know it, you'll release a new version of a project, right? I was also say what are you using in darts? Because if you're just using something like the extension-y things or whatever else, just bring them into your product, right? Bring them into your app. It's MIT license, so
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. That's the last question we have for a second. So.
Well, Kaylee brings up a good point that the two years ago's FlutterCon US, I did do a talk on what makes how to go about picking a package. And definitely hasn't been updated in 4 years. Is a that's not what I would want to use. Now I didn't really talk very much about when would I move away from something, and so it's an existing project. If it's working and there's no reason to move away, I probably wouldn't invest the time in it. Yeah. I mean, like we know none of us are, none of us work for Google at all, but I don't think of anything coming up like, like null safety or something like that's going to be a breaking change that would cause it to stop working. So I don't think I'd be in a rush to find something different on an existing project. But like Randall said, I definitely would not. I mean, that would be way too suspicious for me to use on a new project, period, ever.
I'd evaluate it case by case, to be honest. I see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, I see what you're saying, Danielle, but I'm also like, if you've got a project that's like, there's a point at which a piece of code is done in terms of, like it's like saying that, you've got to keep, rolling new features into a library. You don't, if the library does what it needs to do, it's good, right? It doesn't have to go anywhere. And that's the case with a lot of open source products. Like they're stable, they're there, they're good. However, if they're abandoned, that's a separate thing, right? So
Darts wasn't so much bad as it was just incomplete. I mean, half the tests were missing, almost no tests, and half of the implementation wasn't there, and only about 10% of the documentation. So it never got complete. It never got to the point where FP Dart is now, but FP Dart is still abandoned. So you have to still.
Then I'll be saying, why are you using it? In that situation, I'd be like, why are you using it already?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, lots of things to look at, and there is a talk that's available.
Yep.
On FlutterCon, if you want to see just kind of my thoughts on what I go through when I decide whether I'm going to use a package or not. You know, and how you figure out because it's all about that trust factor of will it do what I need it to do.
Is it someone? Is someone's phone going?
It's my stupid watch right now. Here, I will ditch the watch. My phone is on silent.
Put it underwater. Put it underwater. It'll probably not make sound after that.
It's my my watch. My phone is on silent, and the watch is actually making a different noise than it normally would be making.
Oh wow!
Because it's on silent.
Wow. That's
because it's on silent. But the noise is not silent. So I took it off. It's over there now. So,
what part of silent do you not understand?
exactly.
Well, it's like I have my phone always on mute because I get calls so rarely that I don't really care about that stuff. But it's not. But it vibrates, so like it's in my pocket. I can feel it. Feel that a call's coming in or whatever. But every once in a while, something makes noise out of it, even though I've told it not to. Like I'll be going through, I think, on Instagram or something, and then I hit something that has sound, and Instagram doesn't respect the audio source. I think it's Instagram.
Yeah. Huh.
And so I'll be in a meeting room, and all of a sudden you hear some video I'm playing, and it's like, stop it. So I've also had to learn to put my volume all the way to low if I'm doing anything like that, because that seems to work. Why does it respect that and not the mute switch? Why does it mute me mute?
I don't know. It's those
stupid
OS
iOS
things that drive you nuts. Like why isn't there a separate volume for alarms or something so you can have your phone on like nothing but your alarm still plays so that you can hear it?
Okay,
I can do that.
It looks like we have a new question. So I
was going to say on that. The other thing I've noticed is I've got different alerts for different apps, and Android is okay at it, but it messes up very regularly. It gives me the wrong ones. So yeah.
Interesting.
All right, we got a new question. Right. Somebody must have marked that, but I wasn't looking. That's fine.
I did.
Is it worth it to learn a new language if AI can do it?
You opening a farm. Really?
It's not a farmer have to do with that. Yeah.
Like Animal Farm or
well, if it's a server farm, then yeah.
An open claw farm or
3D printer farm.
An ant farm. Tough thing.
Yes.
My answer is it depends on what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's always better to understand things and to learn and to better yourself from that standpoint. I think you can prompt better. I think you can do all sorts of things like that. However, you have to make that decision. If that's not something that's interesting to you and you're not going to use it right, then it may not be. My opinion.
Yeah.
I think I'd say when it comes to like, you talk about learning a coding language, I assume you're saying coding language, then there's a big part of that is actually more about learning to understand it and read it. Right. And I think because what's going to happen is you're going to get like, as much as AI gets better at the moment, still, it can, if you can't understand. Okay, let me reword this. I see people not knowing how to code using AI and people who know how to code using AI. And there's two different outputs they get, right? One gets, so it's what you put in is what you get out. If you say, I specifically want you to do this, this, and this thing, it'll go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah.
So as a developer, you can be more direct and more appropriate to what you're requesting. And it saves you the keystrokes, it saves you the trouble, and it can do some of the complex behaviors. Whereas, on the outset, if you don't know the language, you don't know how to ask it, then you can't get into the detail, right? You can't tell it what to do. So you end up in this outset of, you may end up in this I've seen it before, people get into the thing where it's like, fix one thing, another thing gets changed or broken. You try and fix that thing, another thing gets changed or broken. You're playing whack-a-mole, basically. Whereas, you can actually precisely tell it what you want it to do and nothing else if you could read it, right? So,
and to be a little bit pedantic for the moment, remember that, for example, Flutter is not a language and Swift is not iOS. They're different. So language is one thing. The platform that you're using it on is often much bigger and a lot more going on. So
Yep. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
100% right stuff.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if AI gets better, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and everything else, you still need to. I think you still get to the point where you need to understand what it's doing and what it's trying to do.
Yeah, and I think Randall and I see it all the time, like on the Discord. Somebody will post something and say, "I can't get this to work," and it's pretty obvious that they got the answer from an AI, and they don't really know how to develop in Dart and Flutter, and so they can't fix it.
They're coding way above their head, and they basically it's like sitting in an airplane seat and finding the one button that starts the autopilot to send you down the runway, but then nothing else will teach you how to fly and be at the right altitude or talk on the radio or anything else that you have to really do to be a pilot. It's not just push the button and get the plane rolling down the runway. A lot more to it.
I mean, it's a good analogy, right? Because what happens if the autopilot doesn't work? You still have to fly the plane. So what happens when AI gives you the wrong answer? You still need to know how to write the code.
Well, and it's a pretty good analogy. Otherwise, I mean, if you're just coding something for fun yourself, then if it breaks horribly bad, you're not that screwed. Right. If you've got a company depending on you, and you're doing stuff, and it breaks, that could put them out of business. So there is a fair amount of needing to be able to land it comes into play.
Well, we're dangerously approaching what's on the AI show on Tuesdays, but I do want to add one final thing here, and that is that I dislike the term vibe coding to describe AI-assisted coding. I think they're two separate kinds of things. There's the kind of people that don't understand what they're doing, but they somehow can talk to this magic box and get a nice website because they're asking for the same thing that a million other people have done, that exact kind of website. So they don't need a lot of instructions for that. But if you're building something innovative, something that stands out from the crowd, you have to use AI more as implementing software engineering practices. And that requires having gone through mature projects that had a PRD and a series of sprints and testable deliverables and cross-checking and pair programming and things like that. If you haven't been through that, you're not going to really get anything that's too far out of the line with AI these days.
Yeah, and
it's something
to it. I was just going to say, Steph beat me to it. I was going to say, if you're interested in AI, we have a whole show for you. So you can come hear all the AI goodness over there.
Well, and more importantly, I mean, what she's saying there is the fact that they've already got quite a bit of content, so you don't have to wait till Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till next Tuesday. You can watch a lot of it now.
Yep. Yeah, there's like 15 shows, something like that so far on there. And cool stuff.
I never numbered the shows. I don't even know what show we're on Humpday. If we've been going like once a week for like 4 or 5 years now,
close to a million, somewhere in there. I think we're pretty close to a million.
Yeah,
200, 300 episodes,
100,000 maybe, somewhere in there.
No.
I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hasn't been 100,000 weeks.
1,500. It's got to be over 1,000 though.
Yeah.
We don't skip too many weeks.
But there's
350 times 5 is 1,500. It's 1,700 and some
10 years.
episodes if we did one every week.
50 times 5.
Like 5 years.
52 times 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
About 250. So about 200, 300.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. Daily.
If you want to talk about hours, you could probably multiply that and by say three on average.
Yeah,
that's about 1,000 hours, 780 hours.
Yeah. We've got another semi question coming in. Let's go ahead and oops, nope, that's not that one. The stupid thing slid.
It's still true though.
I hate that one does that. There we go.
Asking Simon. I think Simon answered this one a few weeks ago, or at least mentioned it. But
the
podcast. I guess it's podcast app. That must be the thing the closed source thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Journal Club. Yeah.
Journal Club. Yeah.
I need to speak to. Well, not yet. Yeah, hopefully it will be. That's the best I can say right now.
I was gonna say, I think you had mentioned on the one episode that you need to talk to them about.
Yeah.
putting the source out there. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we've done a lot of stuff with it. You've done tons of stuff around signals and other things that are interesting to people. I think that open sourcing it would be really cool.
The queue is down to 0. So if you want to get your question answered immediately, ask it immediately. If you wanted to have it answered in 3 minutes, ask it in 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Whilst we're waiting, let's.
Yes.
I want to share something quickly.
Yeah.
I know about this. There's a package. Well, not package. A repo on GitHub that I've used for many years, and not a lot of people know about this. So I wanted to kind of just share it. This is C++ code, right? However, but with Dart's F5 stuff, you can use this, right? That is quite interesting and helpful. Let me just explain what this is about. So STB, single file public domain libraries, right? This chap has been recreating basically whenever he comes up with an idea of something he wants to do, he'll create a single file that you can put into your C code. In this case, you can include this into you can follow the native assets thing and include some of this stuff. But look, a single file, Vorbis decoder, 5,500 lines of code, and you can do that, right? I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. Look, audio waveform synthesizer, loading, decoding, JPEG, PNG, TJ, bitmap, PSD, GIF, HDR, and PIC, all in one file.
Wow.
7,000 lines. And it's like these nice, they're very nice APIs. So that parse, decode, and rasterize characters from TrueType fonts. I use this for some stuff in the past.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like, so this one, maybe Steph might like this. Resize images, large or smaller, with good quality. To have these are quite complex behaviors and things that you might need. And rather than include some massive library, you can just include a single file and you're done. It's a really powerful thing you can do there, right? I also use a rectangle packer, which is really helpful as well. Perlin noise types. So they're very particular. I'll pop it in the chat. Yeah, they're very particular use cases, right? But when you need them, it's really helpful. Guts of a text editor, Minecraft voxel rendering engine, Fabian, real-time DXT decompress. I mean, that 3D graphics, easy fonts. They're all like little things, right? See, like language parser, 941 lines. So it's like those little things.
I wanted to do my taxes. Would that work? So
21 libraries, 51,000 lines of code. But let's choose one. Resize images. Let's choose that one.
Yeah, it's an easy one to play with.
If it loads. Excuse me. Image resize. Well, no load.
Oh, GitHub has been having troubles lately.
Yeah,
it's starting to be a constant.
So the way it works is it's also there's another thing, just to be clear. The license on these are public domain. I think it literally says, what does it say down here? Crap, sorry, I went too far. What is the license? These libraries are fully public. Do anything you want with them. You have no legal obligation to do anything else. Although I appreciate attribution. I love it. Just like, go for it.
Yep.
So,
There are a few countries that don't recognize the words public domain, though. So these also under the MIT licenses. I see.
That's what he says. It's also licensed under MIT if you want to, right? You can do both.
Right, which is almost the closest you can get to public domain without.
It can be threaded with extended API. It supports SSC2, AVX, Neon, WASM, SMD support. Like it supports WASM, SIMD support, like out the box. So you could actually compile this for web and have really optimal image resizing. There you go. I mean, like, there's some of these like high performance things, and then look, easy API calls, sRGB, linear, float linear, input bytes, output bytes, output pixels. Sorry, But you'll get like, yeah, look, it just walks you through. This is the documentation, right, in the header files, and then you know, how you might use it, how you can put from different versions into version history, and then you've got the code, right? But the fact of the matter is, like, look at all the support it's got.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 easy functions, and then the rest is history. And this is like loads and loads of lines of code. Like, it's complex stuff, right? Like, very, very complex stuff to get so optimal.
A lot of work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the nice, and but this is the point, right? Like you try and get a like for example, voice decoder or image decoder. You know, that's nice and simple to put in your app if you wanted to. Obviously, we get one that's built into Flutter, but it may not have the support, for example, I don't know, PSDs, right? And you want to do PSDs, but well, here's a library that does that.
There's closed source, there's open source, and there's STB source.
Limitations: no 12-bit per channel support in JPEGs, no JPEG that are only keep always returns.
Oh, limitations. Oh, well, forget that then. Yeah,
I mean,
limitations.
yeah, it is really quite amazing stuff.
Is it better than the image package?
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. I mean, the thing is, it depends on what you're trying to do, right? This is just for loading, decoding, and then you've got you got image writing. Sorry, telling line. You got image writing for PNG, TGN, and bitmap and resizing. And you could probably
PMP, they didn't leave that out. PMP is so important.
Yeah.
Well, actually, TGA is
BMP is actually quite important because what it means by this is more like RGB, so raw pixels, right?
Yeah.
Which is what you do in memory. Most people don't realize that. That's another thing that I'd like to just briefly mention. So most people look at like a JPEG file and go, "Oh, it's like 200 kilobytes. Oh, it's 200 kilobytes I'm loading in my app." It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. When you load it on the screen, it's raw pixel data, which is red, green, blue data for each pixel. That's if it's 8-bit, that's 24 bits of data, and if it's alpha, that's 32 bits of data for each pixel. That's 4 bytes for each pixel. Now you go, oh, my 250 kilobytes, which was compressed, uncompressed in memory, and suddenly it's like 8 megabytes, and you're like, oh, and now I want to run that 60 FPS. It's like, okay, now you're talking about a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah,
I just want to off cuff here, right? 1920 times 4 times 1080. That's 8 megabytes for one frame of 1080p, right? Times that by 60, that's 497 megabytes per second. Like, think about your bandwidth, and then that's, you times that into bits at 3.9 gigabit a second of memory bandwidth that your machine has to do just HD at 60 FPS.
Yep.
Most people don't realize that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. We got a couple questions in the queue here.
Yeah, go for it. I'm just putting time.
Okay. Yeah, so I thought you were there. So I will make a Flutter app which will automatically get from YT chat and register the question and answer from the transcript voice.
sounds like don't we already have?
We have people that do that. We don't have anything automated.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be interesting to do an AI project that absorbs all that stuff that Christian did, and maybe is still doing, and makes a big giant rag out of it and puts a LLM front end on it. That would be a cool project for a long weekend, I think, someplace. But yeah, that's kind of what actually needs to happen. I do know, though, that thanks to the fact that Gemini app on the web, you can now say, pull in this YouTube video. I tried that with one of our previous shows and said, give me the questions and answers from the show. And it did a completely serious, good job at it. It picked out the questions and the answers correctly. So and even the speaker. So I do know that there's this LLM stuff is definitely moving forward, sort of almost at a scary pace rate. So yay stuff. Got one more question down here. You guys only work with Flutter, or do you work with other frameworks or technologies?
Yes.
I fight Mac OS all the time. I fight iOS all the time. Count as working with frameworks or working against frameworks?
I only get paid to work with Flutter right now. So
yeah,
that's all. That's what gets my primary set of attention. I mean, yeah,
I don't
like you're saying, there's other. Well, that's true too. But I mean, obviously, there could be ancillary things with it, but all of mine have been in the context of Flutter, and my hour is pretty much up. So I think I'm going to give my answer and drop. So I will see you all next week.
Sounds good.
Oh,
yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Great.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting, right? Yes, I mean, as I said, C++, whatever. Like, there's lots of other language and technologies and things in the day-to-day working stuff. Flutter's taken over, and for a lot of what I do, and Flutter and Dart, because it's just so universal, right? Again, though, you know, there's certain things you're going to do. It's about choosing the right tool for the right job, right? So as much as you can, Flutter being cross-platform has kind of been an optimal performant cross-platform solution, has kind of solved that from me, my perspective, on a UI front. Like, I want to build something on a particular UI. I don't have to like learn a lot of specifics about how to do it on each different platform. And if I want to integrate with something, then I just need to learn that's a particular piece of the puzzle, right? Like learning a whole like UI, learning different UI tool, like different frameworks on each different operating system, each different way of doing things. They are different. They can be vastly different. And there's also nuances and history and way things are done, and they're done that way because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's not as simple as, you know, all that. Anyway, I think, what do I think?
Lots of things. You think lots of
things? No, I'm just thinking that
yeah, I mean, you know, from my perspective, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, you know, with what I'm doing now, stay in the Flutter Dart, you know, realm. But I still have a lot of projects on the side that I work on that are, you know, in .NET, or, you know, whether it's ASP.NET or C# and even some C++ stuff still hanging out there that I occasionally have to go touch and, you know, fix something or add something to it. So yeah, exactly. those are the ones that get put on the back burner as long as I possibly can. The C++ stuff, it drives me nuts when I have to go do that because it's been so long.
And I'm happy in a 45-year career that I've been able to see so many different environments and so many different programming languages, and even entire categories of programming languages. So, you know, when I was first learning functional programming, my brain was stretched in really unusual ways, and it took a while for me to kind of get back on top of it. And when I was first learning like Signal, which is a different way of thinking about state management, I had to like, okay, I think I'm finally getting where this goes. And that's been useful because there's generally more similarities than differences, but the differences are sometimes important and put you in entirely new paradigms. I remember the first time looking at Prolog going, where's the execution in Prolog? You're just stating a bunch of facts. How is that going to run where does it run in a Prolog? And if you haven't seen Prolog, this will make no sense what I'm saying. But there is no statements in there's no running things in Prolog. It's just you ask it a question, it goes true or false or whatever. It's like, whoa, how did it do that?
There's also, I was going to say, it's a good example of that is functional programming, right? Some of those functional programming paradigms. We get that with streams, like having streams inside of. I do like the way that you can kind of have, what would you call it? What's non-functional? Imperative? I can't remember. Declarative, whatever. But you can have like the two kind of meld together, right? So you get some of those best pieces like streams. The notion of building up a pipeline and having data pass through it, which came from the functional world, has made its way into essentially non-functional languages, right?
Yeah.
And having those like FP Dart, for example, like to get Dart to act like a functional language is these are amazing things. Like Katie Dart is another one, right? Like have Dart act like Kotlin more, right? Have all the Kotlin-y things that you kind of expect from that language and have them working in Dart.
Yep.
Yeah, I am pretty happy that I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time, especially like in 1981, I got to play with the original Smalltalk. And learning graphic interfaces in 1981 and learning object-oriented programming, pure object-oriented programming, that early in my career helped influence how I use tools from then on. And it really taught me a lot. And I was just because I was in the right place at the right time. It turns out that the company I was working for, Tektronix, had early access to Spark. Yeah. And so, in fact, a lot of the people, authors of the early books on Smalltalk, were my coworkers at Tektronix. So it was a really great period to be around.
Yeah.
So good stuff. We have a couple questions if you.
Sure. You said something there, and it triggers that, and then I've forgotten it. So go for it.
Darn it! Oh, that would have probably been clever too.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah.
I hope so. It'll come. Yeah, your mind goes in circles. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll come back around again.
Go to the important question for Simon.
Yes, is your dash collection's back. You ever feel like you're being judged with all those staring eyes? No, it's these beady eyes on the screen that are judging him more. That is kind of weird, though. Yeah, look at all those guys.
Now we're gone. You got to take the question off. Look at them all. They're all staring right at you. Yeah.
Ew, that's creepy. Do you come into this room at night ever? Probably not.
I never felt. I literally just chucked this together before the stream because it's all brand new.
You know what we need to do? We need to sneak in there, Randall, sometime when we're over there. And like put little lights in each of the little LEDs in each of the eyes.
Oh,
that go on at night.
Eye.
Yeah, so that
red,
actually
little red LEDs. Ooh, that would be spooky. All right, we do have a serious question we can ask as we continue here. John, you have to go pretty quick, right?
Yeah, I probably need to get going pretty soon here. I got to take care of some business.
I want to play the full 30 seconds of your song before you leave.
All right.
So just actually play it right now, and then we can answer the next question. Let's see, where is that again? That's here.
That's my cue to exit stage right.
There.
Congratulations, John Weiss. You're now the Master Chief at Hill Valley Studios. Master Chief. Congratulations, John Weiss. You're now the Master Chief at Hill Valley Studios.
Yeah. Oh, now it's repeating. That's because of that was playback that does that. But the song just goes twice.
Yes.
That was done with Lyria. One shot. I just typed in song for John Weiss becoming Master Chief and 8-bit music, and that was it. One prompt, got that first time.
Wow,
so
nice.
Lyria is amazing. This is inside the Gemini app, either on your phone or on the web. Can do this for free.
Nice.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Well, I should try that. I've got some stuff I need to do for the business that I need a little bit of a jingle for. So yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I will see you guys in a week.
Thanks, John.
Yes.
See you.
Presuming I make it through the never mind. Yeah. It's presuming my surgery goes okay, I guess. Right. It will. Really low odds of something going sideways. Here, next question. From Shreeman again. I have an embedded Flutter in Jasper, which is awesome. I think we need more support for Jasper from the community. That's not really a question. That's just a statement.
I will. I will say that though, that there is huge amounts of support for Jasper from the community now. You say that
Yes.
I think we need more. There is more, and it has been
Yeah.
coming. I think it's again, it comes from the fact that we've been pushing. I think we've specifically been pushing Jasper from the very, very beginning here, and then because I think you can see once you start using, you realize the problems that it solves in the Dart and Flutter sector, as it were, in that kind of SEO sphere, shall we say?
Yeah.
And then I think the kind of same comes from recently, you know, with the Dart and Flutter team picking this up and using it on the official websites. This now becomes a second party, third party, where we would call it, you know what I mean? That kind of like semi-official kind of, this is the way you should do this, right?
It focuses attention on it. I mean, like, even though before GoRouter got taken in by the team, it was still being sort of the semi-official one anyway. People were pointing at it a lot, which pointed a lot of resources at it. It's not the kind of example I actually want, though. Let me think of some other example. Maybe Provider got a lot of direct attention simply because that was what the team was using for examples.
So I think a lot of that has come, and that lot has now been taken up by Flutter favorites, right? Well, Flutter favorites didn't accomplish before. Now that's what it wasn't around for before. Now accomplishes, which is to kind of direct the support package authors and say, you know, this is a trustworthy package. This does certain things, meets a certain standard.
Oh, and another Simon question. Look at this. Are you good at Rust now? Did you use it in a project?
I'll be honest with you, I've been quite busy and haven't done enough that I really want to use it more and more, but not had enough time with it to say that I am very good at it. To be honest, I found that the paradigms, so since I come from a C and C++ background, there's some systems programming, which is where Rust sort of overlaps with in terms of what it's good at. I mean, you know, like you can write. I just want to caveat this, you know, before I get like beaten down by Rust people. Like, you can write websites in C++. You shouldn't, because it'd be like diabolical, right? But you could, right? And the same as you could write, you know, a graphics library in Rust. You can, but I think that you're kind of probably using the wrong tool for the wrong job at some point, you know. Like, right, a good example is doing the Flutter engine in Rust, a good idea. Doing the Flutter UI stack in Rust, probably a bad idea, right? Rust is definitely, you can shoot yourself in the foot with Rust, right? Like, as much as you can't get the memory issues that you get in C++, you can't get any outbound issues. You get there's certain things that you can really kind of assure that aren't going to happen, and that's what makes Rust good over and above we're saying its predecessor, C and C++. I think that the nature of the community is already the not community, the what's the word? The community, I guess, whatever. Basically said that Rust is now like the sequel to C++ in a lot of people's eyes, right? Like I think there's another thing to say that C++ has had many revisions people don't know about. Like, it went, was it like they started using the dates? Was it C89, C99? You got C 2000, 2001, 5. They're up to like 20, 22, 24. Like, each few years, there's a new version of C++, bringing new features to the language.
Yeah, I saw C++ 20 as in reference in some stuff just over the weekend.
Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like it is like up there now, and they've got some really great features. For me, I've always been like, in those early days, I started picking up some of the newer features of C++, but it kind of felt, what's the word? Kind of shoehorned in a bit, right? Like the language wasn't meant to be used in that kind of high level terms, and they're trying to bring high level functionality into it. So it kind of feels like it's a mix between, it's trying to be something that it isn't. And that's very much what like kind of the vision was. I think when C++ came out, the nature of the language says it all. It's C++. It's the additions to C that everyone wanted, right? It was like bringing those extra features on top of the C language. So it's still C syntax. You still got that kind of stuff, but suddenly you got all classes, object orientation. You got the stuff on top. So I think what Rust has done has. Sorry, I'm not trying to bang on about this, but we're here talking about it. And as long as no other questions to answer, I'll carry on for a second. But
there's nothing significant.
What Rust has done has gone back and said, if we wanted a system level programming language and we didn't want all the issues that we've got with the current ones, how would we solve this? And then they've come up with like an actual good replacement for it.
Here's a counterpoint there.
Yeah, I know, right? But then, you know, this is what I'm trying to say. Like the problem here is it's also language based, right? Like there's an aspect to the way that you program in Rust that is not the same as C++. Well, that's a good thing or a bad thing is another case, right? But certainly, I think the requirement is kind of funny, right? The requirement to rewrite something in another language suddenly solves a lot of bugs, gets someone looking at some old code. When you go, oh, I'm just going to recompile this thing in a new version of a language, you know, next version of C++, it's not the same as rewriting it, right? It's not the same as like reanalyzing how something was built or structured and doing it again, eking out more performance. Like another great thing that we get from systems level programming, when I did a lot of C++, was that it's the idea that you can really kind of get in there and go, oh, how can I get a few more? How can I get this more performant? How can I get the time it takes to do this image resized down smaller? And like these kind of like problems. And it's because of that layer of the system, you need that performance because everything built on top of that. Suddenly it's like saying like libjpeg is like everything, right? Because everything needs to use images. And they need something that's stable, that can process those images and be safe and secure and everything else. But boom, and then you build on top of that, right? So it's kind of where Rust comes in, I feel, is that kind of turning point, you say, in systems level programming, which basically says everyone goes, oh, I'll rewrite this in Rust because I can eke more out of this and get it more performant.
I think Larry Wall actually had a great comment to make about this. He used to talk about the fact that, you know, once we get to the point where we have choices of everything being effectively Turing equivalent, so they can all handle every problem. But it's the waterbed theory, which is that in some languages, things are easier, but that pushes up the other side of the waterbed and things are harder.
Yeah.
So every language is sort of optimized and focused on some category of the subset of Turing equivalent programs. And it's important to understand the differences and the nuances to choose which one of those you want to use.
I'll give you an example. I mean, a good example of this is saying, oh, I'm going to write an operating system in JavaScript. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like, I'm sure you could try and make it work, but you'd be insane to do so, right?
Yeah, it's Turing equivalent. It'll work.
I'm sure you can make it work somehow, but like, should you is a different question. I think the same. Microsoft actually, do you know Microsoft actually built an operating system that wasn't Windows? It was called Singularity. It was Microsoft Research, and they built a whole operating system in C#.
Ooh.
And like it's a more modern language. You can do things easier, but they had to add specific like not additions, like annotations and specific processing capabilities to get to do what they needed to do to solve that problem, right? And yeah, interesting as it may be, it's definitely a research project, right?
Yeah.
There's other problems you get, like it's like the reason why Rust fits a different proposition than Dart is because a good example of this is just the idea of having a garbage collector, right? Garbage collection works and it's great, but only for a certain level of programs where programs are not having to manage memory. if you have to manage memory in any way, shape, or form, then the language, anything with a garbage collector is not for your project. So, for example, you're doing a device driver. You could write in C# and Dart and everything else, and have like an entire runtime running in your driver. Why you would want to do that is another thing. It'd be really inefficient. Blah 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 blah. And then you would have random stalls when the garbage collector hits, and you'd be out of it would not be good picture, put it that way. So
GC and reference counting are both valid ways of managing allocations, but they have different pluses and different minuses. So it really depends on you got to understand that yes, they both solve the same overall problem, but they have different tacks on it, different takes on that. We don't have any more questions at the moment. If you want to get a question in immediately, please do so. Simon, you probably want to start live coding.
I wonder if anyone's.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, I know all about malloc and how memory allocation works and all the rest of it. But I don't know if anyone's actually done like a documentary on like the actual kind of all the different kind of mechanisms to memory allocation, because I don't think people understand how it works, a lot of people, right? And I feel I'm just thinking about it, thinking, that's actually an interesting topic. People might want to learn about that. I'm not actually finding anything, like nothing.
I mean, I learned about mark, sweep, old objects, new objects stuff in 1981 out of Smalltalk, because that was in there. And I'm glad I learned that before I learned Perl's reference counting, because I thought, oh, this is just a different way of doing it. And this has its own thing. You can get into circular loops with reference counting where you never dispose that. You lose memory that way. And why we had weak references eventually in Perl. But it's there's so many things to learn. I think the question we had earlier, should I learn this? Yes, learn everything you possibly can, because someday the synergy of you knowing X from over here and Y from over there is going to come together. That's happened for me so many times, where I knew these two things or these three things, and that helped me really take on a project or understand why something was failing, trying to explain that to somebody. I mean, I'm spending most of my time these days essentially mentoring. I mean, passing on the stuff that I've learned over 45 years. And I appreciate the opportunities to do that. That's why I'm happy to be a GDE and be required to spend a significant amount of time each week doing that. But now, where was I going with that? But yeah, just kind of having a sense of different ways of cutting up the problem space, and having tools for all those. Let's see. I learned there was a language called Dart before things like Smalltalk. Let's see. I learned there was a language called Dart before things like Smalltalk. That seems backwards. Am I reading that right?
There was Dartium and a few other early things, but they were after Smalltalk.
You're way after.
Maybe there's another one called Dart.
Yeah, Smalltalk in 1981. So you got to go back a ways. I mean, that's why they call it the ST80 image. The Smalltalk 80 image was the internal name for it, and then it got released to the public in 81, which is when I got to use it. I got to use it on a 68,000 base bitmap graphic machine, black and white, gray, so grayscale, 1 megahertz processor. And it was fluid, because it wasn't doing much. It was only 256 byte codes. It was a very small VM. It just worked. It was amazing. The most fascinating thing is I continued with Smalltalk, and in 2007, 2008, I was on the board of directors for the Squeak Smalltalk, which was the heir apparent to the original ST80 image team. And they had figured out how to build the VM in Smalltalk. So they had a Pigeon Smalltalk that was just a subset, that they could translate directly to C code, but they developed it in Smalltalk using the standard tools. And they could actually simulate by running the Smalltalk engine in Smalltalk on the existing image. It was like so meta. It was crazy. But when they got that working right, they would push a button and out comes a big pile of C code. That would become their new VM. It was just wow. And it still works that way. Squeak today. You might want to check it out. It's a pretty amazing project. With the value of true and false and about a dozen other significant objects is cloned all the way back from 1974 when the original Smalltalk. They just would copy the VM image over and over again. So that the true and false in there are the actual copies of the original true and false.
It reminds me of what was it? Someone asked me, like, I think we had a question on here, like, it's like, how did the first programming languages like happen? Like
Yeah,
how does it evolve? Because it's very much a language. Like, it's like there is an aspect to this which most people don't realize as well. It's like Dart is written with C and C++ as like the language behind it, right? And then C and C++ is written in the previous version of C and C++, the previous version, and so on. Or they're relying on assembler, or there'll always be a portion of relying on assembler, which then compiles out into machine code and so on. And it's like at the very, very beginning of this entire stack of evolution, right? Is someone literally looking at like, most people don't realize this. There's a list of opcodes that the processor uses, which are in binary. They're represented by hex, 2 digits, and you literally just type in that's called machine code. You just type in the machine code in memory, and you work out what the offset is that you need to jump to, and what the values are, and you just type it in.
It's like animals or DNA machines. All life actually is DNA machines that were built by RNA machines, which sort of bootstrap themselves because of some accidental, magic fairy dust or whatever. I still don't understand the whole process, but the RNA machines came first, but they couldn't duplicate themselves accurately all the time. It took building the DNA mechanism eventually to get to actually. So that's sort of like our assembly code and our high-level languages at this point. And that's just so amazing that we mimic that at a computational level. It makes you wonder if we're all a simulation again.
I mean, you can write, if you want to, you can write programming in binary if you wanted to. Like literally just type in the ones and zeros. I mean, why you'd want to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is amazing to think that all this modern software that we write in Flutter and Dart eventually ends up just being essentially a bunch of ones and zeros running on a processor, right? At fast speed. It is,
which at even a lower level, it's a voltage high or voltage low.
Yeah. So what was it? Someone said to me, why? I think I saw that. It's like, why don't we use decimal computers? Because it was originally a decimal computer. I think ENIAC was a decimal computer, one of those early ones.
Yeah. They had.
And there's a lot of in those early days. You had so it's quite funny. When you talk about a word or a byte, these terms have a meaning now that's quite fixed. But in the early days of computing, they were like 9 bits, 12 bits, 11 bits, whatever made sense for the wiring of the machine at the time. And there's one of the reasons why, if you look at the early, in fact, I think it's quite standard across all of the RFCs, the Internet Engineering Task Force RFCs. But they say octet. They specifically say octet to mean byte because it's 8 bits. Oct 8. So an octet means 8-bit, a grouping of 8 bits, which is a byte to us. But back in the early days, and this reason why in programming languages like you see the early C language stuff, a word is the unit size of a machine, right? So officially back then, when those languages came out, it was like 16 bits. You would have like your byte, and you would have a word, which was your 16, 12-bit, whatever your word size is on your machine. And that was an integer. That was the whole unit that a CPU can run on. 32-bit came out in the 386 days. And that became a an interesting thing because it was a architectural shift. You would switch on 32-bit and switch modes of the CPU. So you can still support 16-bit and you can do 32-bit. And at that point, they came up with double word, the notion of a double unit size, right? So now the integer was a D word or double word. It's 32 bits, not 16-bit.
Right.
And then there was a problem. 64-bit came out, and we went, how do we now describe programs that have to have
Quad.
16, 32 bits? And we came up with wide. This so it's a
Yes.
you know, and so you had a long, so you had this term. So if you're compiling C code, for example, in 16-bit, an int is 16 bits, and a long is 32-bit, right? It's two 16-bit integers that are carried together using add carry, right? You said you can chain as many as you want together, but that's the standard like mechanism. And so you had long, and then when you compiled 32-bit, a integer was 32-bit, and a long was 64-bit, effectively, right? You had this kind of like, you had this world where suddenly it's not what you thought, and then there was a problem with the fact that you're trying to compile 32-bit for 64-bit, and there was a real confusion. It depends on how you set up your compiler. I won't go into the details, but you can end up with an integer that's 64-bit or an integer that's 32-bit and long that's thing. And you end up with this terminology of what a wide is. Anyway, it all gets very confusing. But the mechanism that we have we kind of nice that the industry is kind of settled on 64 bits, right, at the moment, because there's not many things you need. Not many numbers in anything that we do nowadays that needs more than 64 bits. Like you can represent a hell of a lot of information in 64 bits, right?
Yes.
So it's only when you start getting into those cryptographic pieces of the puzzle where you need stupidly long, big numbers. They're big integers, right? Or big ints. And they're arbitrary precision numbers. And they are literally, they use add carry to kind of, essentially chain lots of numbers together, which is how your processor works internally, just to be clear.
Yeah.
It's just slower because it's at a high level. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
And then quantum computing is going to make all the RSA stuff obsolete. So that'll be interesting when that all goes away.
Yeah. I've been looking at a lot of the quantum RFCs and documentation. There's some really clever stuff coming out at the moment, really clever stuff to kind of secure our future, which is needed.
Right. Or the opposite of that, break all the security we have already. So that's fascinating on both sides. Will the good guys stay ahead of the bad guys? Maybe. It hasn't always been true in the universe.
Okay. I just thought of something that I want to ask you, actually, Randall. Sure. I mean, there's no questions in the queue, right?
Yeah, no questions.
So, did you hear about there's a utility called XZ, which was someone tried to attempt to backdoor it not too long ago. This was like, I don't know, a few months ago or something. I can't remember. Maybe it was a couple of years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago, but I remember there being the XZ backdoor, and it was a big deal at the time. And it wasn't really, to me, like it made the rounds in the people that I know and everything else and whatnot. But it didn't actually make huge waves in like the news sector at large.
No,
which I found kind of weird at the time, but I wasn't like pushing for it. But I know recently I watched a video by a well-known YouTuber, Veritasium. I don't know if you've heard of Veritasium.
Yeah, that's
he does it's a science technology YouTuber.
Right. Pretty good stuff.
Anyway, he did a video recently on it, and I loved the way he portrayed it. I'm going to put it in the chat for anyone that's watching. I recommend watching it. But yeah, so he went through the whole story of what actually happened. I knew about what happened in a small slot, but he actually goes through the entire wide process of the gamut of how we got to the situation we got to in the technology industry, how this was possible. And I don't know if you know this, but it was purely effectively by luck that we actually found this backdoor.
Yes.
Well, in time, right, basically before it got too far, but yeah, it literally would we were weeks away from effectively the internet would have been taken down. It would have been effectively, yeah, going to this. I think, within a few months, the entire every server on the internet would have been, essentially effectively backdoor.
The problem is that for practical purposes, we have this web of trust that's fragile. And I was seeing this back in the 90s when we were setting up
Yeah.
the CPAN, where anybody could upload a chunk of code, and typically people installed this as root on their system. By being root, they installed this on their system because it was pointing at system directories and stuff that users wouldn't normally be able to update. And in the entire existence of the CPAN that I'm aware of, now I've stopped following the mailing list like 10 years ago, so something might have happened since then, but there never was an actual attack through CPAN. There was one guy who was trying to point out how risky the trusts web was, because he uploaded an installation that said, if you're running this as root to install it, I could have deleted your file system just now, but I didn't. Please don't do that. And that's as close as we sort of got to anybody ever having malicious, malware in a CPAN submission. But we've already seen there was an NPM thing or something that somebody backdoored.
Recently, it was there was a post. Was it pre-hooks and post-hooks for NPM package installation run as root?
Yeah, and so we're always on this fine thread, because in order for open source to work, we've got to have places to share our code. And we're trusting places like GitHub and stuff like that to give us things that are probably reasonable. And but if anybody wants to take something over, they could make a lot of damage before it. I don't want to give them any ideas, but the safeguards aren't always there, and LLMs just make it one more level of indirection to really get things messed up. So,
well, this is interesting, right? I'll answer this question in a second, Frank, but there's an interesting thing that I thought about the other day, which was a lot of people are producing really large PRs now with changes that are made by AI, and it's probably less likely that people are reviewing it with any sort of precision, and therefore things can skirt past security boundaries if you're not too careful, right?
Right.
It's quite a scary thought. Regarding this, you said that Frey says, so if we just happen to catch this by luck, what other backdoors are already spreading without us knowing it? Yeah, which is true.
Could be.
And in fact, one of the things that was found in some of the Rust rewrites are things like these. There's always bugs in that people are finding that these could have been backdoored, right? These could have been like used as 0 days for years. And the thing is, there's loads of CVEs. There's loads of like these aren't new, right? These things are always happening all the time. Security things and bugs and vulnerabilities are found and are patched, right? And yeah, they could be being taken advantage of. Like there's, I'm pretty sure that every nation state has their cyber division now, that literally their job, they literally have researchers that day to day they're trying to find these holes in software, and they're called 0 day vulnerabilities, right? And then they can take advantage of them to do whatever they want to do, right? As much as you might get, nasty people doing things, there's also nation actors that are doing these sort of things as well.
We've got a team of people using LLMs to try to identify these problems, and we've got another team using LLMs to try to insert these problems. So
it's interesting, right? Because there's literally been a whole speed up is maybe the wrong word, but this whole kind of increase in this recently, because of the fact of LLMs can actually make it work, make these things work faster, right? The solutions and finding the solutions, find the problems and the solutions, right?
Who knew autocomplete would be worse than just spelling the wrong word the message to your girlfriend? I mean, really. Honey, I didn't mean that. It was autocomplete.
I like that. Let the LLMs fight it out to themselves, and we can just go and hang out together, right? Yeah.
Just give us a feed in the pub, and I mean the literal one for that. Anyway, you gonna do some live coding today or not, or what do you want to do? We only got I got 20 minutes. I have a hard out at top of the next hour. So
we can just chat here for a bit. I think I'm not really set up to do live coding at the moment, so
yeah, okay. I do want to talk about a couple things though that I've been lately for fun. I've been watching like on the Discord, there's a section called Showcase where you can talk about your latest thing that you've done, or then packages and tools. I think it's another category there. I've been maybe taking every third or fourth one from there, and I've now realized I can pop into anti-gravity, start a new thing under what they call playground, which are temporary things that are supposed to eventually be destroyed or moved to a real thing. And I can just tell it, here's the URL for a GitHub, download it and tell me the good, bad, and ugly. I used to like go through all the steps of going and cloning the repo and then pointing at this at that directory, but it's like it can just download it itself. It knows how to do that. It just, in fact, sometimes I see a package name on the list of packages that are now new in the pub. And because it has Dart lookup, it can go ahead and find the GitHub for that without me even typing that in. So it's like super fast now. And what I do is I get a good, bad, and ugly report, and I try to verify that there are some serious problems here. And if there are serious problems, I'm actually emailing the author going, hey, would you like an issue from this report I've made on using Gemini 3.1 over your code, reviewing it? Oh, yeah. And so I've had people make open comments saying, oh, my God, Randall, help me out. And I go, I just typed the 2 commands to anti-gravity. It's not really like I'm doing a lot of work, And they should be doing this instead. I shouldn't be doing this. This should be people know to say, just point Gemini 3.1 at your code base and say, tell me the good, bad, and ugly, and fix the ugly. That's how simple this is. Please just fix the ugly. I don't care about the bad. That's just design choices that went a little astray. But yeah,
that was this. I saw a news article pop up on was it on Hacker News, and it was Linus Torvalds uses anti-gravity. Everyone's like, oh my God, he's using AI.
Nice, nice.
Yes. It's his own personal project, but he was like, one of the statements he said in here, what was it?
Ooh.
Let's see if I can find the bit that was highlighted. So let me bring it over here. That makes more sense. Also note the Python visualizer tool has been basically written by vibe coding. This is Linus's words, right? I know more about analog. I know more about analog filters, and that's not saying much, than I do about Python.
Oh, wow.
It started out as my typical Google and do the monkey see, monkey do kind of programming. But then I cut out the middleman, me, and just use Google Anti-Gravity to do the audio sample visualizer. So it's like basically it can code it better than I can. I think he says in there somewhere as well. So just put it out there.
Oh, look. So he found something called Dart even before Smalltalk. Simple high-level language processor called Dart in 59. Yeah, that was a way back.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, that sounds fair because it is a Dartmouth student. So
Right, Dartmouth. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Cool. All right. Let's see. What
I
else?
saw. So who was it? Said it was someone who worked at It did. I'm just filling time it, but it just reminded me.
Old fogey day here
Hang on.
on Humpday.
There was a news story about Anthrop. It was someone who worked for Anthropic. They built a C compiler using Claude code
From scratch. Yeah.
Yeah, from scratch. And obviously, he said it doesn't. It's not great. You know what I mean? He claims it, but it was like, so I think the news articles were like, spent $30,000 of there we go. Evaluation over nearly 2,000 Claude Code sessions across 2 weeks. Opus 4.6 consumed 2 billion input tokens and generated 140 million output tokens at a total cost of just under $20,000. Right?
Wow.
He works for the company, so it cost the company, sure, and it cost the company in there may be 20,000 retail price, but not for them, right? Compared to even the most expensive Claude Max plans, this was an extremely expensive project. But the total is a fraction of what it would have cost me to produce this myself, let alone an entire team, which is true. Like the actual cost of paying developers to build this over a long period of time, right? This was a clean room implementation. Claude did not have access to the internet at any point during its development.
Wow.
So,
although what it had access to, though, I believe what it did have access to was the official C test suite.
Yeah. It depends only. It depends only on the Rust standard library, and the 100,000 line compiler can build a bootable Linux 6.9 on x86, ARM, and RISC-V. It can compile to QEMU, FFmpeg. It can compile. Here are the projects it can compile: QEMU, FFmpeg, SQLite, Postgres, Redis. Have 99 pass rate on most compiler test suites, including the GCC Torture test suite. It also passes the developer's ultimate litmus test. It can compile and run Doom.
Oh, wow. I like this. Did they add no backdoors, please, in the prompt?
The compiler, however, is not written without limitations. These include: it lacks 16-bit x86 compiler that is necessary to boot Linux out of real mode. For this, it calls out to GCC, which is fine. It does not have its own assembler and linker. These are very last bits that Claude started automating, but still somewhat buggy. The demo video was produced with GCC assembler and linker. So basically, they've built it's built a C compiler that compiles into GCC assembler, right? And then they're using the GCC assembler linker to actually do the final machine code step. The compiler essentially builds many projects, but not all, and is not yet drop-in replacement for a real compiler. The generate code is not very efficient. Even with all optimizations enabled, it outputs less efficient code than GCC. Sorry, let me read this again. Even with all optimizations enabled, it outputs less efficient code than GCC with all its optimizations set to disabled.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a ways to go.
The Rust code quality is reasonable, but nowhere near the quality of what an expert Rust programmer might produce. The resulting compiler has nearly reached its limits of Opus abilities. It tried hard to fix several of the above limitations, but wasn't fully successful. New features and bug fixes frequently broke existing functionality. And this is what we were talking about before, right?
Yeah.
In one particular challenging example, Opus was unable to implement 16-bit x86 code generator needed to boot into 16-bit real mode. While the compiler can output correct 16-bit x86 via the opcode prefixes, the resulting compiled output is over 60 kilobytes, far exceeding the 32 kilobyte code limit enforced by Linux. Instead, Claude simply cheats here and calls out to GCC for this phase. So he asked GCC to compile the 16-bit code. Yeah, I'll put the article on the screen. Sorry. So this is the official building a C compiler. And the source code of it is completely available and is on GitHub. I'll put the link in the chat. It's really interesting, right? Like having an LLM write these complex propositions. there's many compilers and many things out there, right? Like this, like it's not new per se. I think the details here is if he tried to do this and say write it in C, it probably would have produced a better result. I think the thing here that there's only so much. Rust is quite a relatively new language, right? And this is a very novel use of Rust in itself. So I suspect that that is an interesting challenge to put towards an LLM, I think he's done a really admirable job of the output, you know. But again, you know, as I say, it's the first step of many, right? These things aren't simple. You know.
No.
But I thought that was an interesting article. Yeah, that. That's why the extension is RS. Rust. That's the extension for Rust.
Also, my initials. Nice. Guess I'm Rust.
Randall wrote all this code.
Yes. Yeah. No. Not a Rust hacker yet. I've only seen like 10 lines of Rust in my entire life, so I can't say much about it.
Right.
I'm sure I could create in Gemini Canvas a training guide to learn Rust fairly quickly, but no. Not. I've got other things I'm working on these days. I still got to get a few things. I've got shoemaker's children problems that I got to deal with.
I think every developer has that problem. For those who don't understand what Randall's talking about, it's always the cobbler's children, the shoemaker's children that have the worst shoes because he's always working on the customer shoes and never his own children's shoes. And it's the same for us. I think I must have 100 different personal projects that are all in various arrays of finished disrepair, bugginess, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Rust, no. It can, Richard, because I'm looking at it right now. What you're experiencing is the current GitHub issues. GitHub has some issues right now. There's some bugs go around in the actual running of GitHub. They've had a couple of downtimes recently, and yeah, I suspect that's what you're experiencing. Not because I'm looking literally. I can show you right now. Hang on, hang on. I'll share screen this just so we're all on board here. See, look, opens it up just fine.
Yep.
There you go. Lovely syntax highlighted Rust code.
Yeah. Oh, good. Now I've seen 30 lines of Rust code. Now I've seen 60 lines of Rust code. All right.
Yeah.
I've just increased my Rust.
More Rust code than you wanted to see ever.
I've got more Rust in my life than I had before. So I use OmniFocus, which allows me to organize tasks into projects and subprojects and sub-projects infinitely, unfortunately, and can have start dates and defer until dates and complete by dates. And what happens is like 2 or 3 of my items, my shoemaker's children items will pop up and I go, I don't want to do that until the weekend. So I push them all down to the weekend. Well, of course, the ones on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday all got pushed to Saturday. So Saturday, I get a longer list and I go, I don't want to do any of these. And I push it to the next Saturday, which probably already had some items on it anyway. And I get to the point where it's like, I wish I had an automated tool that just pushes these things forward for me.
Call it an LLM? And I'm afraid they do exist.
LLM. Yeah. Here, you sort these out for me and tell me which ones I really should be working on. But there are like
I haven't.
My website's horrible. I've got to get my website fixed. And it's like I go, but the problem is choosing the right technology to replace the current technology, and there's so many different choices now. I mean, I want Jasper, but Jasper CSS, and I don't want to learn CSS. I don't want to know anything about that stuff again. I did all that stuff 20 years ago. I'm tired of it, and so I'm thinking, can Gemini do enough of Jasper to help me rebuild my website?
Yes,
it probably can. I just need to dig down and get it done, and it pops up redo front page on website. every like 2 weeks. I get a little tick that says that. So yeah,
Right. I mean, like, there's not much coming in, and since we're
Nobody
not
coming
going to be doing live coding,
Yeah.
we could wrap it up now, I guess.
So same time next week, because there's still going to be this breakage
Yeah.
in time until the 28th. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing 9 a.m. Pacific, West Coast time, U.S. Pacific, and that's 4 p.m.
When does-
London until the time changes, and 4 p.m. GMT until the time changes. Well, it's going to stay 4 p.m. GMT, but it'll be 5 London and
29th.
6
So
p.m.
We've
Central.
got 2 more shows.
Yep.
On the 18th and 25th.
Yep. Those are both of the mixed up times. It's weird that it's like 3 weeks long this year. It just all depends on the timing of like first Tuesday.
The overlap of the 2 weeks.
Yes.
And what overlaps on a Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, thank you all for joining us.
One more thing. So I was out of this show for a couple weeks about a month and a half, 2.5 months ago now, because I ended up discovering that I had arterial fibrillation, which meant that my heart was beating 150 beats a minute and it wouldn't slow down. So I've been on heavy drugs since then to keep it down to something normal. But I'm going under the knife on Friday to, they send a probe up from my groin all the way up to my heart and zap parts of my heart. In theory,
who knew the route to a man's heart was through the groin?
Yeah, in theory, that's so symbolic. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. So I can't continue.
Sorry.
Say it's only like an hour surgery and 3 hours post-op, and then they're sending me home. I can't believe they're sending me home on the same day they're zapping parts of my heart. I'm taking an overnight bag just in case, because
I suppose if it's only that keyhole kind of stuff, then it's from a perspective, and it's not near your heart, so it's not like they have to open your chest up or anything like that. So it's like
no, that's why they
I can see they can send you straight home, right? Like I can see that.
Yeah.
But again, it is kind of like, it sounds a bit freaky because your heart is one of your major organs. So it's like, I need that to work.
So they so think happy thoughts about me on Friday. Okay, had it, and she came home same day too. Wow. Okay, so this is called an ablation, and it's for, amazingly enough, the disease I got, the problem I got, arterial flutter. Of all things, all the things for me to come down with, it's flutter that's killing me.
All right. Well,
I'm glad to start. But anyway, think happy thoughts. I should be next week.
Honestly, Randall, best of luck with the operation. Hope for no complications or issues, and we'll see you hopefully see you same time, same place next week. I'm sure we will.
166 hours from now.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.